The space station called Harmony's Rest floated in the darkness between stars. It was a meeting place for many alien species. Ships came and went every day. The station had welcomed over 10,000 different kinds of life forms in its long history. Nothing surprised the workers there anymore, or so they thought. Administrator Velix sat in his office and watched the screens. He had 4 eyes, gray skin, and long fingers that clicked against his desk when he was nervous. Today was a normal day. Ships arrived. Ships left. Everything was peaceful. Then a new ship appeared on his screen. The vessel was small and strange. It had a shape that no one recognized. The words on its side were in a language the translation systems had never seen before. The ship sent out a message asking for help. Their engines were damaged. They needed repairs. Velix checked his records. This species was not in the database. They were completely unknown. But the Galactic Union had rules about helping travelers in need. He gave permission for the ship to dock. The vessel was called the Dayan Pioneer. 4 creatures walked out of the ship and into the decontamination chamber. They stood on 2 legs. They had soft skin with no scales or shell. Their eyes faced forward like hunters. They wore simple clothing and carried small bags. The leader introduced himself as Captain Baek Do-hyun. He was tall with dark hair and calm eyes. Next to him stood Lieutenant Park Yuna, a young female with sharp eyes that noticed everything. Behind them were Shin Mai-rae, the engineer with oil stains on her hands, and Kang Taesung, the medic who carried a warm bag of medical supplies. They called themselves humans. They came from a planet called Earth. Velix watched them through the security cameras. They seemed friendly enough. They smiled and talked to each other in soft voices. They did not look dangerous. They looked like any other travelers who needed help. The decontamination process began. This was normal procedure. Every new visitor had to be scanned. The station's medical AI, called Oracle 7, would check their bodies for diseases and dangerous substances. It was a simple safety measure. It took only a few seconds. Oracle 7 started the scan. The 4 humans stood still and waited. Yuna looked around at the strange technology. Mai-rae was already studying the machinery with curious eyes. Do-hyun stood with his hands behind his back, patient and calm. Taesung checked his medical bag to make sure nothing was damaged. The scan finished in less than a heartbeat. Then every alarm on the station screamed to life. Red lights flashed in every corridor. Sirens wailed through 17 different decks. Doors slammed shut with heavy metal sounds. Workers dropped their tools and looked around in panic. In the medical bay, doctors froze in the middle of their work. In the cargo holds, loaders abandoned their machines and ran for cover. Oracle 7's voice echoed through the entire station. It spoke in every language at once. Biohazard level Omega. Venomous. Lifeform detected. Initiating quarantine lockdown. All. Personnel evacuate sections 12 through 15. This is not a drill. The 4 humans looked at each other in confusion. What did we do? Yuna asked. Do-hyun raised his hand slowly. Stay calm. There must be a mistake. In his office, Velix stared at his screen with all 4 eyes wide open. His long fingers stopped clicking. His gray skin turned pale. He had seen many things in his career. He had dealt with predators and parasites and plague carriers. But he had never seen a result like this. The scan showed the contents of human blood. Oracle 7 had listed every chemical it found. The list was terrifying. Human blood contained iron-binding proteins. These proteins would cause organ failure in most species within minutes of contact. The AI marked them as highly toxic. Human blood contained uric acid. The AI classified this substance as corrosive. It could damage tissue on contact. Human blood contained antibodies. Oracle 7 described these as aggressive cellular hunters. They would attack any foreign biological material without mercy. Human blood contained trace amounts of compounds that the AI identified as neurotoxins, substances that could damage nervous systems, substances that could kill. Velix read the report 3 times. He could not believe what he was seeing. The humans were not carrying venom in containers. The humans were not infected with some disease. The humans themselves were the danger. Their bodies produced these substances naturally. Their blood was a toxic mixture that could harm almost every species in the known galaxy. These soft, friendly-looking creatures were walking poison factories. Velix picked up his communicator with shaking hands. He had to report this to the Galactic Council. He had to warn everyone. A new species had appeared in the galaxy, and they were more dangerous than anyone could have imagined. Down in the decontamination chamber, the 4 humans still waited. They did not understand why the alarms were ringing. They did not know that their own bodies had caused this panic. They stood there looking confused and a little worried, like travelers who had missed their flight. Myray tried the door. It was locked. "I think we are in trouble," she said. Taesung looked at the flashing red lights. What could have triggered a biohazard alarm? "We do not carry anything dangerous." Dahyung shook his head slowly. He had a bad feeling about this. "I do not think they found something we were carrying. I think they found something in us." Yuna pressed her hand against the cold metal door. On the other side, she could hear footsteps running away. The aliens were fleeing from them. From 4 tired travelers who just wanted to fix their ship and continue their journey. "What are we?" she whispered. "What did they find?" The alarms kept screaming. The lights kept flashing. And somewhere in the station's vast computer systems, Oracle 7 continued to process data, trying to understand how such dangerous creatures could exist at all. The answer was simple, though the AI would never truly comprehend it. They came from Earth, and Earth was not a kind planet. 3 hours passed. The alarms finally stopped, but the red lights continued to flash. The 4 humans sat in the corner of the decontamination chamber. They had tried every door. All were locked. They had tried calling out. No one answered. Finally, a group of aliens appeared on the other side of the glass window. They wore thick suits that covered their entire bodies. They carried devices that looked like weapons. Their eyes showed fear. Do-hyun stood up slowly. He kept his hands visible. "We mean no harm. Please tell us what is happening." One of the suited aliens spoke into a device. A translation came through the speakers. "Do not move. Do not touch anything. You are classified as a biohazard threat. You will be moved to a secure medical bay for further study." Study? Myray did not like that word. "We are not animals to be studied. You are venomous," the alien said. "Your blood contains deadly substances. Oracle 7 has classified your species as extremely dangerous. Until we understand what you are, you will remain in quarantine." The humans looked at each other. Venomous? Their blood was deadly? Guards in protective suits entered the chamber. They kept their distance, staying at least 3 meters away from the humans at all times. They used long poles to guide the humans through the corridors. Workers fled when they saw them coming. Some screamed. Others pressed themselves against walls, trying to get as far away as possible. Yuna watched their reactions with growing sadness. "They think we are monsters, are we?" Taesung asked quietly. He was a medic. He knew human biology, but he had never thought about it this way. The secure medical bay was clean and white. There were beds and medical machines. There was a large window where aliens could observe without entering the room. Food and water arrived through a small slot in the wall. No one would come inside. For 2 days, the humans waited. They ate the strange food that was pushed through the slot. They slept on the uncomfortable beds. They talked among themselves, trying to understand what had happened. On the third day, Taesung finally got access to a computer terminal. The aliens allowed it because they hoped he might explain human biology to them. He spent hours reading through Oracle 7's analysis of their blood. When he finished, his face was pale. "What did you find?" Do-hyun asked. Taesung sat down heavily. "They are right. We are venomous. Our blood is a toxic mixture that would harm or kill most known species." He explained what he had learned. Human blood contained hemoglobin, a protein that used iron to carry oxygen. But iron was toxic to more than half of all known species. Even small amounts could cause organ failure. Human blood contained white blood cells. These cells attacked anything foreign that entered the body. To alien species, these cells were like tiny weapons, programmed to destroy. Human saliva contained enzymes that could dissolve organic material. Human stomach acid was strong enough to damage metal. Human skin shed thousands of cells every day, each one carrying trace amounts of chemicals that were harmful to sensitive species. "Our bodies are designed to fight," Taesung said. "We evolved on a planet where everything was trying to kill us. Bacteria, viruses, parasites, predators. Our biology became a fortress. We did not even realize it. Myre laughed, but there was no joy in it. So we are walking poison factories. Wonderful. There is more," Taesung continued. "I looked up Earth in their database. They have a classification system for planets. Earth is listed as a Class 12 death world." "Death world?" Yuna repeated. "The scale goes from 1 to 15. Class 1 planets are safe and peaceful. Class 15 planets are completely hostile to all life. Earth is in the upper range. Our planet has extreme temperatures, unpredictable weather, natural disasters, and millions of species that can kill. Apparently, having carnivorous plants is considered deeply disturbing by galactic standards." Do-hyun closed his eyes. He thought about his home. Green forests, blue oceans, birds singing in the morning. It had never seemed like a death world to him. It was just home. "What happens now?" he asked Dot before Taesung could answer. The door to the observation room opened. Administrator Velix entered, wearing 3 layers of protective equipment. His 4 eyes blinked rapidly behind his face shield. Armed guards stood behind him. "The Galactic Council has been informed," Velix said. His voice was steady, but his body language showed his fear. "They are concerned. Your species was not in our records. We thought you were simply new to space travel. We did not realize you were apex predators from a death world." "We are not predators," Do-hyun said firmly. "We are explorers. Your biology says otherwise." Velix held up a datapad. "Your eyes face forward. This is a trait of hunters who chase prey. Your bodies produce adrenaline, a chemical that enhances strength and speed during combat. Your teeth include sharp canines designed for tearing meat. Everything about you is designed for killing." Yuna stepped forward. The guards raised their weapons. She stopped but did not back away. "We are also designed for helping," she said. "Humans take care of each other. We form families and communities. We protect the weak. We heal the sick. Yes, our bodies can be dangerous, but our hearts are not." Velix looked at her for a long moment. He wanted to believe her, but the data was clear. These creatures were dangerous. Their blood alone could kill. "The Council will decide your fate," he said finally. "Until then, you will remain in quarantine. Do not try to escape. Do not touch anything. Do not harm anyone." He turned and left. The door sealed behind him. The 4 humans stood in silence. Through the window, they could see aliens gathering to stare at them. Some pointed. Some took pictures. Some simply stood and watched, like visitors at a zoo. "They are afraid of us," Myre said. "Can you blame them?" Taesung replied, "To them, we are monsters. Our blood is poison. Our bodies are weapons. How can we convince them that we are not a threat?" Dohyun looked at his crew. They were tired and confused and scared. But they were also strong. They had traveled across the stars to find new friends. They would not give up now. "We convince them the only way we can," he said. "We show them who we really are. Not through words, but through actions. If the chance comes to prove that we mean no harm, we take it." Yuna nodded slowly. "And if that chance never comes?" Dohyun had no answer for that. He could only hope that somewhere in this station someone would see them as they truly were. Not monsters, just humans. News traveled fast on the space station. Within hours, everyone knew about the venomous creatures in the medical bay. Within days, the entire sector had heard the story. Humans, a new species from a death world. Blood that could kill with a single drop. Fear spread like fire. 3 species requested immediate evacuation from the station. Their ships left in a hurry, carrying frightened passengers who wanted to be far away from the dangerous newcomers. 2 diplomatic delegations canceled their visits. Trade negotiations were postponed. The station, which was usually busy and full of life, became quiet and tense. The Halari delegation sent an official complaint to the Galactic Council. They argued that keeping venomous apex predators on a civilian station was a violation of 17 different safety codes. They demanded that the humans be removed immediately. Some wanted them sent back to their death world. Others suggested more permanent solutions. In the medical bay, the 4 humans heard these rumors through the thin walls. Workers talked outside their door, not realizing the humans could hear. The words were not kind. Monsters, killers, poison creatures that should never have left their planet. Yuna sat by the window and watched the aliens pass by. Most would not look at her. The few who did showed only fear. She had never felt so alone. "We should not have come," she said quietly. "We had no choice," Dohyun reminded her. "Our engines were damaged. We would have died in space. Maybe that would have been better. At least then we would not be causing all this trouble." Taesung put his hand on their shoulder. "Do not talk like that. We did nothing wrong. Our biology is not our fault." On the 7th day of their quarantine, something happened that changed everything. It was late in the station's night cycle. Most workers had gone to rest. The corridors were empty and quiet. In the medical bay, the humans tried to sleep on their uncomfortable beds. Myre could not rest. Her mind was too active. She lay in the darkness and listened to the sounds of the station. The hum of machines, the whisper of air moving through vents, the distant footsteps of night workers. Then she heard something else. A scream. She sat up quickly. The sound came from the emergency communication channel. Someone had left a speaker active in the observation room. A voice was calling for help. "Medical emergency on Deck 7. Worker injured. Plasma conduit rupture. Critical condition. Medical teams respond immediately." Myre listened harder. More voices came through the speaker. "Medical team is 12 minutes away. She will not last 12 minutes. She's losing fluid fast. No one on Deck 7 has medical training? They are all too afraid to touch her. The wound is severe. Direct contact is required to stop the bleeding." Myre's heart began to beat faster. Someone was dying. Someone needed help right now. And no one was willing to provide it. She looked at her sleeping crewmates. She thought about the locked doors. She thought about the quarantine rules. She thought about all the people who called her a monster. Then she thought about the dying worker who needed someone to hold pressure on her wound. Myre made her choice. She moved quietly to the door control panel. During her 7 days of boredom, she had studied the station's technology. She had learned how their systems worked. The lock was good, but she was an engineer. Locks were just puzzles waiting to be solved. It took her 3 minutes to override the system. The door slid open. She ran. The corridors were empty. Red emergency lights flashed on Deck 7. She followed the sound of panicked voices until she found them. A young alien lay on the floor. Her name was Sora. She was a Pelion, a species with hard outer shells and soft insides. A plasma conduit had exploded near her. The superheated gas had cracked her shell and torn open her body. Blue fluid leaked across the floor. Her multiple eyes were dim with pain. Around her stood 6 other workers. They wanted to help. Myray could see it in their faces. But they were afraid. Pelion biology required direct pressure on wounds to stop fluid loss. Someone needed to press their hands against the injury. But no one wanted to touch a coworker who was covered in potentially contaminated fluid. They were waiting for the medical team. They were watching their friend die. Then they saw Myray. Human. One of them screamed. Get away. Your toxins will kill her. Myray ignored them. She dropped to her knees beside Sora. The alien looked up at her with fading eyes. Hold still, Myray said. She did not know if the translator was working. She did not care. I am going to help you. She pressed her bare hands against the wound. The other workers backed away in horror. Some shouted for security. Others simply stared, unable to believe what they were seeing. A venomous creature from a death world was touching their colleague. They were certain they were witnessing a murder, but Myray was not killing. She was saving. She applied firm pressure to stop the fluid loss. She reached into her pocket and pulled out the emergency sealant she always carried. It was designed for human injuries, but basic wound care was universal. She squeezed the sealant into the cracks in Sora's shell. You are going to be okay, Myray said, her voice calm and steady. Stay with me. The medical team is coming. Just hold on a little longer. Sora's eyes focused on her face. This strange creature with soft skin and forward-facing eyes. This monster that everyone feared. She was warm. Her hands were gentle. Her voice was kind. Why? Sora whispered. Because you needed help, Myray said simply. That is reason enough. The medical team arrived 8 minutes later. They found something that should have been impossible. A human was kneeling in a pool of alien blood, her hands pressed against a critical wound. The patient was still alive. They tested Sora immediately. They checked for toxic contamination, for cellular damage, for any sign that human contact had harmed her. They found nothing. The wound was sealed. The patient was stable. There was no trace of human toxins in her system. Human skin, the doctors realized, was not designed to release poison. It was designed to contain it. Humans kept their dangerous chemicals inside their bodies. Their skin was a barrier, not a weapon. The monster had saved a life. News of this spread even faster than the fear had spread before. By morning, everyone on the station knew what Shin Myray had done. A human had broken quarantine not to harm, but to heal. A venomous creature had touched an alien, and the alien lived. Some still wanted the humans removed. Some still called them dangerous. But others began to wonder if they had made a mistake. Maybe these creatures from the death world were not what they seemed. Maybe, just maybe, they were something else entirely. The station was divided. Some wanted the humans punished for breaking quarantine. Others wanted to thank them for saving Sora's life. The debate grew louder every hour. Finally, Administrator Velix made a decision. The humans would be given a chance to speak. A large meeting room was prepared. Representatives from 12 species gathered around a curved table. Scientists, diplomats, and security officers all came to hear what the humans had to say. Oracle 7 sensors monitored everything, collecting data for its endless calculations. The 4 humans were brought in under heavy guard. They wore no protective suits. They had nothing to hide behind. They stood before the assembly with only their words as weapons. Kang Taesung was chosen to speak first. He was a medic. He understood biology. He could explain what they were. He stepped forward slowly. The aliens watched him with a mix of fear and curiosity. Some leaned away as he approached. Others gripped hidden weapons. But no one stopped him. "Thank you for allowing us to speak," Taesung began. His voice was calm and clear. "I know you are afraid of us. I understand why. Your AI scanned our blood and found dangerous chemicals. By your standards, we are venomous creatures." This is true. Murmurs ran through the crowd. Some had expected the human to deny the charges. His honesty surprised them. "But there is more to the story," Taesung continued. "Let me tell you about our world." He brought up a display showing Earth, blue oceans, green forests, white clouds. It looked peaceful from space. Our planet is classified as a Class 12 death world. This means it is very dangerous. But we did not choose to be born there. We simply survived. For millions of years, our ancestors faced threats that would destroy most species. Diseases that killed millions. Predators that hunted in the darkness. Weather that could freeze or burn without warning. Poisons in plants and animals everywhere. The display changed to show human cells fighting against bacteria. Our bodies evolved to fight. Our blood carries iron because iron helps us survive. Our immune systems are aggressive because anything less would mean death. Our saliva contains enzymes because we need to break down food quickly. Every chemical in our bodies serves a purpose. We did not become toxic by choice. We became toxic to survive. He paused and looked around the room. The aliens were listening now, not just hearing. But survival alone is not enough for humans. We learned something else on our death world. We learned that together, we are stronger than alone. The display showed images of humans helping each other. Doctors treating patients. Firefighters running into burning buildings. Strangers giving food to those who had none. On Earth, we have a word: empathy. It means feeling what others feel. When someone is hurt, we feel their pain. When someone is sad, we feel their sorrow. This feeling drives us to help. Not because we gain something from it, but because we cannot stand to see others suffer. Dahin stepped forward to join his medic. "We are not predators looking for prey," the captain said. "Yes, our eyes face forward, but we use them to look at each other to see when a friend needs help. Yes, our bodies can be dangerous, but we spend our lives learning to heal, not to harm. Why should we believe you?" asked the honorary diplomat. His voice was sharp with suspicion. "Words are easy. Actions are what matter." "Then look at our actions," Yuna said. She stepped forward without fear. When Sora was dying, who helped her? Not her own species. Not any of you. You were too afraid to touch her. Myri ran through corridors full of people who hated her. She broke rules that could have meant her death. She did this for a stranger she had never met. Myri spoke for the first time. "I did not think about the danger. I only thought about the person who needed help. That is what humans do. We cannot help it. When someone is hurt, we must try to save them." The room fell silent. The aliens looked at each other. They had expected excuses, explanations, maybe even threats. Instead, they heard something strange. These creatures from the death world spoke of kindness and compassion. Their actions matched their words. Oracle 7 processed this new information. The AI had originally classified humans based on biological data alone. Blood chemistry, physical structure, cellular composition. But behavior was also data. Actions could be measured. Choices could be analyzed. The AI recalculated. Humans were indeed venomous. Their blood contained substances that could harm other species. This classification remained accurate, but humans were also cooperative. They helped others without expecting reward. They put themselves in danger to save strangers. They chose healing over harming, even when harming would be easier. Article 7 updated its assessment. New classification requested, the AI announced. Everyone turned to look at the speakers, where its voice emerged. Species designation: human. Biological classification: venomous. Behavioral classification: non-aggressive. Social structure: highly cooperative. Empathy index: exceptionally high. Administrator Velix read the new data on his pad. His 4 eyes blinked in surprise. Oracle 7 has changed the human threat level, he announced. Previous rating: extreme danger. New rating: minimal threat. Recommended status. He paused, reading the words twice to make sure he understood. Recommended status: allied species. The room erupted in noise. Some protested loudly. Others clapped their appendages in approval. The debate continued for hours. But the tide had turned. The quarantine was lifted that evening. The 4 humans walked out of the medical bay as free beings. They were still watched carefully. They were still required to follow certain rules. But they were no longer prisoners. They were guests. Sora was waiting for them in the corridor. Her shell was repaired, though a faint scar remained where the plasma had burned through. She approached Myray slowly. "You saved my life," she said. "I was going to die, and you saved me." "Why?" Myray smiled. It was a human expression that Sora had never seen before. But somehow, she understood it. "Because that is what we do," Myray said. "On our world, we have another word: family. It does not always mean blood relatives. Sometimes it means anyone you care about. Anyone who needs you." She put her hand gently on Sora's arm. The Pelion did not flinch. "You are family now," Myray said. "And family helps each other." Sora's multiple eyes filled with moisture. On her world, this was a sign of deep emotion. She had never thought she would feel this way about a creature whose blood could kill her. But she did. Against all logic, she did. Maybe that was what the humans meant by empathy. Maybe their death world had taught them something that safer worlds had never learned. That danger and kindness could exist in the same heart. That poison and love could flow through the same veins. 6 months passed. The stars continued their slow dance through the void. Ships came and went from Harmony's rest. Life returned to normal. Or perhaps to a new kind of normal. The Dan Pioneer returned to the station on a bright morning. This time, there were no alarms. No flashing red lights. No panicked workers fleeing through corridors. Instead, there was a welcome party. Lieutenant Park Yuna walked through the docking bay with her head held high. She wore a new uniform now, one that marked her as an official representative of Earth. Behind her came the rest of the crew. Captain Big Do-hyun carried himself with quiet dignity. Shin Myray looked around at all the changes with wonder in her eyes. Kang Taesung smiled at familiar faces. The station had been modified in the past 6 months. New medical bays had been built with human-compatible equipment. First aid protocols had been updated to include proper procedures for treating humans. There was even a small cafe near the docking area that served something called kimchi jjigae. The chef was still learning, but the humans appreciated the effort. A crowd had gathered to greet them. Species that had once fled in terror now stood watching with curiosity and respect. Some even waved, copying a human gesture they had learned. Sora pushed through the crowd to reach the front. Her shell had healed completely, though she kept a scar as a reminder. In the past 6 months, she had become famous throughout the station. She was the first alien to survive direct human contact. But she called herself something else. The first human friend. "Welcome back," she said to Myray. Her translator had been updated to handle human languages better. "I have been waiting." Myray embraced her. Some in the crowd made sounds of surprise. Physical contact between species was rare. But Sora and Myray had already broken that barrier. "I missed you," Myray said. "I missed you too. And I have news. My people have a new word for humans. We call you Dakchin. It means poison friend." Yuna laughed. "Poison friend. I like it." The welcome ceremony was brief but warm. Administrator Velix gave a short speech about cooperation and understanding. Oracle 7 announced updated statistics showing 0 incidents involving humans since the quarantine was lifted. Representatives from several species expressed interest in visiting Earth, though they requested extensive protective equipment first. Then came the main event. The Galactic Council had sent a representative to formalize relations with humanity. A tall being named Presider Kmax stood at a podium surrounded by screens and cameras. This moment would be broadcast to thousands of worlds. Billions of beings would witness the historic event. Captain Baek Do-hyun approached the podium. In his hand, he carried a document printed on real paper. Humans, it seemed, valued physical objects in a way that digital records could not match. "On behalf of Earth and all humanity," Do-hyun said, "I am honored to sign this treaty of friendship and cooperation. We have traveled far to find new friends among the stars. We are grateful that you have given us a chance." Presider Kmax nodded slowly. "The Galactic Union has watched your species carefully these past months. We have seen your biology and been frightened. We have seen your actions and been amazed. You are not what we expected. What did you expect?" Do-hyun asked. "Predators, killers, creatures who use their poison to destroy. Instead, we found healers, helpers, beings who risk themselves to save others." Kmax paused. "The Council has debated long about what role humans should play in our union. We have reached a decision." The screens around the room flickered. Text appeared in hundreds of languages simultaneously. "Humans are uniquely suited for a special purpose," Kmax announced. "Your bodies are resistant to biological contamination. Your minds stay calm under pressure. Your hearts drive you toward danger when others flee. We would like to invite humanity to serve as emergency responders for the Galactic Union." A murmur ran through the crowd. This was unexpected. The species that had been classified as venomous was being asked to help protect others. "When disaster strikes," Kmax continued, "when plague spreads, when ships are damaged in dangerous space, humans will be called. You will go where others cannot. You will save lives that would otherwise be lost." Do-hyun looked at his crew. Yuna nodded firmly. Myray was already smiling. Taesun wiped something from his eye that he would later claim was dust. "We accept," Do-hyun said. "This is what we were made for. Not to harm, but to help. Not to destroy, but to save." He pressed his hand against the ceremonial document. In human culture, this was called a signature. It meant a promise that could not be broken. Presider Kmax pressed his own appendage beside it. The treaty was sealed across the galaxy. Beings watched in amazement. The poison creatures from the Death World had become guardians. The monsters had become heroes. In the computer systems of Harmony's Rest, Oracle 7 updated its database one final time. Species: human, Homo sapiens. Origin: Earth Class 12 Death World. Biological classification: venomous threat level, minimal social behavior, highly cooperative special role, emergency response and rescue behavioral note. will attempt to befriend anything that does not immediately kill them. Approach can be surprisingly effective. Species demonstrates unusual pattern of risking personal safety to assist others, even those who have shown hostility. This behavior appears to be instinctive rather than calculated. The AI added one more line, something that went beyond simple data classification. Recommendation: approach with caution but not fear. Despite biological hazards, humans represent valuable allies. Their capacity for compassion exceeds their capacity for harm. The celebration continued late into the night cycle. Humans and aliens shared food and stories. Old fears melted away as new friendships formed. Sora introduced Myre to her family. Taesung explained human medicine to fascinated doctors. Yuna taught a group of young aliens how to hide-5. Captain Do-hyun stood apart for a moment, watching his crew and their new friends. 6 months ago, they had arrived as frightened travelers, locked away as dangerous specimens. Now they stood as representatives of their entire species, welcomed into a galactic community. Administrator Velix approached him. "I owe you an apology," Velix said. "When you first arrived, I saw only danger. I did not look deeper." "You were protecting your station," Do-hyun replied. "Any good leader would have done the same." "Perhaps. But I have learned something from your species. Fear is easy. Understanding is hard. But understanding is worth the effort." Do-hyun smiled. "That is a very human lesson." "Maybe that is the point," Velix said. "Maybe you are not as different from us as we thought." As the celebration wound down, the crew of the Daehan Pioneer gathered one last time before sleep. They stood by a window looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there, Earth waited. Their home. Their death world. The place that had made them who they were. "Do you think they will ever understand us completely?" Yuna asked. "No," Taesung said. "But that is okay. We barely understand ourselves." Myre laughed. "We are poison friends. We help first and explain later." Do-hyun nodded slowly. "We are humans. Our blood may be toxic, but our hearts are not. And in the end, that is all that matters." The stars shone bright beyond the window. The galaxy stretched out before them, full of wonders and dangers and new friends waiting to be found. The venomous creatures from the death world had found their place among the stars, not as monsters, not as threats, but as something the galaxy had never seen before. Humans. And humans help.